Tonight, before you click away, listen closely, because this may explain a feeling you have not been able to name. Somewhere in the quiet part of the night, when lights are low and the noise of the world finally fades, there is someone younger than you thinking about you again. Not for a second, not as a random memory. I mean deeply, repeatedly, in a way they cannot easily stop. They may laugh during the day, stay busy, reply late, act normal, even look distant, but when night comes, their real feelings begin to rise. That is when your voice returns to them, your face, your energy, the way you made them feel seen without asking for anything. And what makes this so powerful is that they did not expect it. They did not plan for you. They did not prepare for the effect you would have on them. Yet now, while you are trying to move forward and keep your emotions under control, they are somewhere fighting their own private storm because your presence still lives in their mind. Stay with me, because the reason behind this is deeper than simple attraction. It is not just about age. It is not just about chemistry. It is about the rare shock of meeting someone whose calm feels safer than noise, whose silence says more than 100 empty words, and whose energy leaves a mark that the night refuses to erase. The night tells the truth to people who are secretly in love because the night strips away performance. In the daytime, people wear masks. They stay distracted. They protect their image. They act strong. But late at night, when nobody is watching and there is nothing left to impress, the heart starts speaking in a language the mind cannot fully control. That is why this younger person returns to thoughts of you over and over. They replay the smallest moments, the way your tone changed when you were tired, the way your eyes seemed to carry both peace and pain at the same time, the way your silence felt heavy, not cold, but full. They notice things about you that other people passed right over. And what unsettles them most is this. They did not think they could feel this deeply for someone like you, especially not someone who seems to understand people without trying, especially not someone who can see through surface behavior and still remain gentle. That kind of presence is rare. It is unsettling. It is magnetic. And when a younger heart meets emotional depth it has been starving for, something inside becomes still for the first time in a long time. That stillness can feel beautiful, but it can also feel dangerous. So if this is touching something inside you already, keep listening, because the next part explains why they cannot easily let this go. What began between you and them was not shallow, and that is exactly why it keeps pulling them back at night. Surface attraction is loud, it burns fast, it asks for attention, but what they felt with you moved differently. It was quieter, slower, more unsettling. It reached parts of them they had kept hidden, even from themselves. Many people before you may have been flashy, inconsistent, emotionally noisy, always asking to be seen, always needing to be chased. But you carried something different, something grounded, something real. You did not need to perform depth, you simply had it. And that alone created a kind of emotional tension they were not ready for. They may have tried to resist it. They may have gone cold for no clear reason. They may have disappeared, acted confused, replied strangely, or pulled back right when things started feeling close. But distance does not always mean there were no feelings. Sometimes distance means the feelings became too strong to manage. Sometimes pulling away is what people do when they feel too exposed to stay still. And younger hearts often do not have the language yet for what they are experiencing. They confuse being overwhelmed with losing interest. They confuse fear with freedom. They confuse emotional depth with danger. So they run, then think about you all night. They hide, then check for signs. They stay silent, then imagine what they would say if they were brave enough. People are not usually haunted by what was easy. They are haunted by what awakened something unfinished inside them. That is why this connection sits so heavily in their chest after dark. You touched a place they were not ready to feel. Maybe it was your calm that pulled them in. Maybe it was the sadness in you that never asked for pity. Maybe it was the way strength and softness lived together in you without noise. Or maybe it was simply the strange truth that around you they felt emotionally uncovered without trying. That can shake a person more than desire alone ever could. Because when someone makes you feel emotionally naked, you cannot pretend forever. And what they feel for you is not the loud kind of attraction that fades after a few exciting weeks. It is the quiet kind, the kind that slips into the subconscious. The kind that comes back during songs, long drives, crowded rooms, and empty ceilings at 2 a.m. They think about you while music plays and everyone else suddenly feels flat. They think about you while talking to someone new and feeling the difference. They think about you when they remember how rare it felt to be emotionally safe and emotionally challenged at the same time. Listen carefully, because this matters. When a person starts comparing every connection to the feeling they had with you, that is not casual interest. That is a bond that went deeper than either of you said out loud. Sometimes a younger person becomes deeply pulled towards someone older, not because of appearance alone, but because that person represents something their inner world has been searching for in silence. Grounding, wisdom, safety, emotional truth, a kind of strength that does not need to shout. When they met you, they may have felt something they had no clean explanation for. It was not only desire. It was not only admiration. It was the shock of recognition. The feeling that your energy matched a missing shape inside them. And once that happens, things get complicated very fast. They may not know how to express it in a healthy way. Their feelings can come out sideways, through long stares, through jealousy they deny, through random silence followed by sudden returns, through quietly watching your life from a distance, through remembering details you barely noticed saying. Through emotional tension, they cannot explain to friends because the story sounds simple but does not feel simple at all. That is because some connections live below ordinary language. They are felt first, understood later, and admitted last. So every night, when their defenses weaken and distractions fall away, the truth rises again. You mattered. You still matter, and they cannot fully erase the impact. If you have ever felt somebody pull close and drift away in the same breath, then you already know this kind of contradiction can be more intense than clear affection. It leaves questions, it leaves echoes, and it keeps both hearts awake longer than they want to admit. Another reason this attachment became so strong is because you did not chase them the way others probably did. You did not beg for attention. You did not force your way into their life. You did not perform desperation just to keep their eyes on you. And strangely, that kind of emotional self-control creates fascination in people who are used to noise, games, and chaos. Your restraint made them curious. Your silence made them wonder. Your depth made them feel calm and exposed all at once. For someone who has spent years hiding behind charm, distraction, or emotional confusion, being around a person who sees clearly can feel addictive. Not because you tried to seduce them, but because you touched something honest in them by simply being yourself. And that hurts them more than they show, because accidental impact is more powerful than planned attraction. You reached places in them that no smooth line, no temporary romance, no easy attention had ever reached before. So now they try to move on. They talk to other people, they keep busy, they post, they laugh, they scroll, they fill the day with movement. But then a song plays. A phrase reminds them of something you once said. A lonely moment opens in the middle of the night. And suddenly your energy is there again, strong as ever. No warning, no permission, just presence. And in those quiet hours they are forced to admit what they avoid in daylight. No one has made them feel exactly like you did. That realization changes a person. Especially a younger person still trying to learn the difference between excitement and real emotional connection. Excitement lights up the body quickly, but true recognition moves through the soul slowly and stays longer. Once someone feels deeply recognized by you, ordinary attention starts to feel weak by comparison. That is why they think about you before sleep. Not because they are only infatuated, but because a part of their inner world attached itself to your presence. And the painful part is this. They may never say it clearly. Younger hearts often fear vulnerability more than loneliness. They fear rejection. They fear looking foolish. They fear losing control. They fear admitting that someone has real influence over them. So instead of speaking, they stay silent. But silence does not kill attachment. It often feeds it. The mind becomes obsessed with what it cannot resolve, and unresolved emotion grows louder in the dark. That is why they replay your conversations in their head. That is why they imagine different endings, different confessions, different moments where they finally tell you the truth. That is why they wonder if you feel this too. And maybe you have sensed something, even without proof. Maybe their presence lingers in your chest at strange times. Maybe you think of them suddenly and do not know why. Sometimes the heart notices tension before logic can explain it. Sometimes people feel each other more deeply than they can prove. And sometimes what cannot be spoken still changes everything. There is also a hidden reason younger hearts are drawn to older souls with such force. It is not always about age. It is often about what pain has shaped inside a person. Hard years change the energy someone carries. Loneliness changes it too. Disappointment, survival, silent battles, healing, and all the things a person survives without applause leave a mark. And when someone younger meets a person who has suffered deeply, yet stayed kind, stayed thoughtful, stayed warm, it affects them in a powerful way. Because kindness after pain feels sacred, it feels earned, it feels real. Maybe they see how much you hide from the world. Maybe they notice the tiredness beneath your strength. Maybe they sense the loneliness you never say aloud. Maybe they can feel that your calm did not come free. It was built, it was learned, it cost you something. And instead of pushing them away, that truth pulls them closer. Not in a shallow way, but in a deep, almost spiritual way that makes them feel like your presence interrupts their normal life. Suddenly, what used to satisfy them no longer does. Easy attention feels cheap, loud affection feels empty, fast attraction feels unfinished. Because now they know what it feels like to stand near someone who carries emotional substance. Stay with me, because this next part matters. When a person becomes emotionally meaningful in a world full of temporary distractions, forgetting them is no longer a simple choice. It becomes a struggle the mind loses night after night. This can confuse you too, because their actions may not match what you feel from them. One day they seem close, the next day they seem cold. Sometimes their silence feels louder than words. Sometimes their behavior makes you question your own instincts. You may even wonder if you imagined the whole thing. But emotional immaturity often looks exactly like this. When feelings become real, some people do not move closer. They retreat. Not because nothing is there, but because too much is there. Vulnerability removes control, and control feels safe to them. Real attachment does not always feel peaceful at first. It can shake the ego. It can expose abandonment wounds, fear of rejection, old insecurity, shame, and a deep fear of not being enough. It pulls hidden needs to the surface, and many people would rather run than face that mirror. So every night, this younger person is fighting two opposite desires. Part of them wants freedom from the intensity. Part of them cannot bear the idea of losing the connection. Part of them wants to forget. Part of them secretly hopes you still think about them too. That inner battle is exhausting. It keeps them restless. It keeps them watching from a distance. It keeps them imagining conversations that never happen. And if this feels personal to you, maybe it is because you know what it means to carry your heart carefully. Maybe life taught you not to show too much. Maybe you became strong because you had no other choice. Maybe being emotionally independent was never your dream. Maybe it was your survival. That kind of loneliness changes a person quietly. It teaches you how to stand with no comfort coming. It teaches you how to smile while carrying storms inside. It teaches you how to protect your softness under layers of self-control. And strangely, that younger person feels this in you even if you never explain it. They are not only pulled toward how you look or how you speak. They are drawn toward what you survived without turning bitter. They are drawn toward your emotional intelligence, your steadiness, the warmth you still offer after all the disappointment life may have placed in your path. That combination becomes unforgettable, especially to someone raised around shallow bonds and mixed signals. Your energy feels like truth in a time of performance. Your calm feels like shelter in a time of confusion. Your depth feels like water to someone tired of empty noise, and that is why they keep returning to you in their mind late at night. You became more than a person to them. You became a symbol, safety, meaning, vulnerability, longing, healing, desire, stability, understanding, all at once. And symbols are powerful because the mind attaches emotional meaning to them far beyond logic. That is why they may stare at your photos longer than they should, why they may type messages and erase them, why they imagine reaching out, then stop themselves, why they miss someone they are not even sure they have the right to miss. That ache is real. It is private, and it does not disappear just because they pretend it should. But hear this clearly. Even if they think about you every night, even if the feelings are real, you must not shrink yourself chasing clarity from someone who is still lost inside their own heart. Do not lower your worth trying to force courage out of confusion. Emotional truth matters, yes, but truth still needs action. It still needs honesty. It still needs a person willing to show up instead of hide forever behind silence. Your role is not to rescue emotionally unavailable people from themselves. Your role is to stay aligned with your own value. Deep down, you already know something important. Real love should not require self-abandonment. The right bond will move toward honesty, not endless guessing. It will move toward openness, not permanent distance. It will move toward courage, not constant hiding. Still, some connections need time. Some people need to grow before they can hold what they feel. Some hearts do not understand their own depth until they have already tried to run from it. And maybe tonight, while you hear these words, that younger person is somewhere in the dark, replaying memories of you again, wondering if your silence means caution or disinterest, wondering if there was a reason your paths crossed at all, wondering if this was only attraction or something meant to wake them up emotionally. Because some people do not enter our lives to entertain us. They enter to change us, to open a locked room, to make us feel what we kept buried, to show us that our heart still has more truth inside it than we thought. You may never fully know how deeply your presence affected them. You may never hear how many nights your memory became both comfort and pain at the same time. You may never realize how often your image returned to them right when they felt emotionally empty. You may never know how your calm gave them a strange sense of healing without you even trying, and maybe that is the deepest reason they keep thinking about you. Not because you were perfect, not because you manipulated them, not because they are weak, but because something inside them finally felt understood near you. Human beings do not easily forget the people who make them feel emotionally seen. That kind of recognition leaves fingerprints on the soul. It changes standards. It raises the bar. It ruins shallow connections for a while because now they know what depth feels like. And if these words are landing hard in your chest, there may be a reason. Maybe some part of you already sensed this current between you. Maybe intuition has been whispering what logic keeps delaying. Maybe you felt them in the silence and did not trust yourself enough to say it. If so, do not ignore that quiet knowing. Not every connection arrives with easy timing, clear labels, and perfect language. Some arrive softly, then echo for months. Some remain unfinished on the surface while doing deep work underneath. Some leave behind lessons, longing, healing, and transformation all at once. That is why even now, the story is still alive in both of you, whether spoken or not. And there is one more truth most people overlook. When someone younger is truly affected by you, they often do not just miss you. They study the feeling you left behind. They notice how nothing ordinary quite reaches the same place anymore. They become more aware of their own emotional hunger. They start questioning what they used to call love. They begin seeing how much of their past was noise, not depth. How much was excitement, not safety. How much was attention, not understanding. In that way, your presence becomes a turning point for them. You do not just remain a memory, you become a measure, a mirror. A question they keep asking in different forms. Why did this feel so different, and why can I not replace it? That question can follow a person for a long time. It can make them grow. It can humble them. It can bring them face to face with the truth they were avoiding. And yes, sometimes it can bring them back. Not immediately, not always cleanly, but often enough to prove the connection was never light. So if they went silent, that does not automatically mean your impact disappeared. If they acted distant, that does not erase what happened inside them. If they looked calm, that does not mean they were free. Some people look the most controlled exactly when they are the most shaken. Some people say the least when they feel the most. Some people disappear because they are trying to understand what staying would demand from them. And that is why the night keeps exposing what the day allows them to hide. So protect your heart, but do not doubt your impact. Trust what you felt without letting it control your worth. If this connection is real, time will reveal the courage inside it. If it is meant to become something more, it will move toward clarity.